Part 2 of the rant, first week of August, 2nd of August today, and very exciting week because we're live streaming on Thursday. It's Coffs Harbour Cup Day. We're going to have a preview for Coffs Harbour Cup and the program on Wednesday evening. Gord, myself, and a very special guest. And on Thursday, we're going to live stream, and RacingRant will be crossing to various players, obviously the Glenster for his mounting yard analysis, and Gord to see what he's up to, and Nigel will be involved. Paul Daly will be involved. I think we've got some intel from Sooty in terms of races of interest around the place. So stay tuned for that. That's a very exciting development. And please bear in mind that this is our first live streaming race meeting event, and obviously there will be some technical hitches, but hopefully you get the gist of it. We're trying to give a live demonstration of how we play the races, and the feature is Coffs Harbour Cup, which is run by our very good man from Coffs, young Tim, who will be previewing the meeting with us on Wednesday evening before he's Calcutta, because of course they're not in lockdown. Meanwhile, we are in lockdown and proceeding as we have the last few weeks. Thomas Barwick says, he said in the chat room, and basically to Glenn, he said he referenced Dodd's use of the Goldilocks term in relation to our good friend, what's his name, that won the Open Handicap last week, the Waller number. And Thomas says, Rewide Dodd says Goldilocks, please share with Glenn. The Goldilocks zone is the habitable zone the habitable zone around a star where it's not too hot, not too cold, for liquid water to exist on the surface of surrounding planets. The distance the Earth orbits the sun is just right for water to remain a liquid. This distance from the sun is called the habitable zone or the Goldilocks zone. So what Dodd was trying to say about that horse is basically it's a horse order again we're talking about that needs everything just right.
Wow.
What a great expression.
Yeah. What a great expression. I thought it was to do with some chick that ate porridge to it or something. I don't even remember. Is it a nursery rhyme or a book? I can't remember.
Yeah, she needed it just right. And so I think it's not a bad term for a horse that needs everything to go its way.
Yeah, great intel and by Dodd to even know.
Yeah,
these younger boys.
They have nursery rhymes in Ireland as well. Ryan writes, thanks for the mention on the show, Glenn. My memory is dreadful, but I do recall meeting you. I don't recall it being at the modelling contest, however. Gee, that's going back away. Keep up the good work on the show. Love the opinion and assessments, trying to sharpen up my punting, and you guys really help.
Thanks for that, Ryan. Yeah, no, it was definitely the Miss Bonto contest, but I suppose someone like, this young man would meet hundreds of people per year over 20 years. How would you remember anyone?
Depends on how memorable you are, Glenn.
Oh, I wouldn't have been that memorable. I would have been just like dopey looking dad.
Would have been in the corner feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah,
because he's out in public.
Because I'm out in public.
Oh, to be honest, I'm surprised Ryan could get to you with the number of women that would have been circling around you, Glenn. Well, maybe that was.
You just say that all the time now, Gord, because it shits me.
Oh, mate, but it's just so true.
It's not.
It shits you, and it's the truth. I love it.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Yes, look, I remember interviewing anyone that came away from you, Glenn, certainly back in the day, and they'd say, charisma.
No way.
Dave writes, Mark, I agreed with you 100%. We need to educate punters. We need to show them a better way, no doubt. But how do we educate those who don't think they need educating? There are a squillion punting shows on Sky, racing.com, etc., and the internet without mentioning the RANT. With the exception of the RANT, the rest are not punting shows, they're mostly tipping shows. Who are you talking about using to promote gambling that isn't already doing it? Don Byrne comes to mind, but I doubt that he would want the job. You don't just need punters, you need someone who won't get lost in the crowd, someone who punters will listen to above the rest. I do not watch these shows to get tips. I'm always trying to learn something I may have missed. It's why they are tipping a horse interests me more than the tip itself. I love doing the work myself. Punters are strange creatures. It's the only field of endeavour that I know where 99% of punters learn about punting from abject failures. For example, their dad or their friends. They already think they're experts. They just think they're always unlucky. Your show tries to educate punters. You should have a massive audience. And while I'm sure you do have a good audience, otherwise why would you even do it? But you wouldn't have 0.1% of punters that need educating. Only they do not know it. They all think they just need a change of luck to make a fortune. How do you overcome that? All your clients are the converted. They're looking to learn more. They even learn from each other. In every other sport or field of endeavour, people know what they don't know. What I mean is they know they don't know it. Not so in punting. I have friends and relatives that want to talk punting all the time and they drive me mad. Their knowledge is very limited, but they don't know it and they never listen. I've even told them to join the RANT, but what could you teach them? They already know everything. With punting, the first thing you have to do is unteach average punters what they think they know, then start from scratch. It would be like trying to teach a Republican that night is dark and day is light if Trump told them the opposite. Punters watch a lot of punting shows from Get On, Formline, Black Bookers, etc., but they don't watch them to get educated. They watch them for tips and or entertainment. When people want to learn a trade, they go to an expert. Doctors learn from other doctors, etc. Punters learn from the mates at the pub and they bet on everything. Again, they are not your audience. I had the same problem when I was getting people into racehorse ownership. They're all experts. Racing is a very private industry, and yet the people who support it from the outside, punters, owners, think they know everything. They're very hard to teach anything to. Then again, maybe I'm just not a people person. I'd much rather talk to those who know more than me than those who know less than me, but think they know everything. In saying that, I'm first to admit that everyone knows something I don't know. I don't have the answer, and I applaud you for the passion you show in helping everyone. But even God only helps those who can help themselves, and I'm an atheist. So good luck. Sorry for the length again, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Isn't it interesting? You remember when you guys interviewed, is it Badger, the Betfair guy or whatever?
Yeah.
And he said he found that teaching like the woman that had never experienced how to trade on Betfair, that didn't have any experience, was actually easier. Because
he did say that.
Yeah, they just followed the rules and the way the trading should be done rather than, get fogged up with preconceived ideas.
That's a very good analogy, Glenn, and Gordon, thanks for pulling that one up.
Good
Okay, someone wants you to review this dog trial, Gord. G'day, fellas. G'day, fellas. So as we are now reviewing Trot's race protests from Tamworth.
I've seen this, Gord. This is fantastic. You'll love it.
I'm
Best
guessing
ever.
I'm guessing
it's a one dog trial. Get your clock out, Gord.
I'm
Get your stopwatch out.
Anything is fair game. With that in mind, I'd like Gord to review this trial from Crayford near London. Does he see a coming winner here?
Fuck, it's funny.
So
this is great viewing.
You ready, Gord?
Yeah.
Here comes the lure.
Oh, what a legend. Oh, it goes to its owner. Oh, wow.
It is the best ever.
It comes again.
That's a pet.
Right, on my notes,
I'd have definitely a pet.
I'd have slow out, moves to the left.
Goes and sees its owner.
Looks friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's going on with the stalls lifting off the ground as well? Like,
I like that.
They were towing it out straight, and the dog wasn't out yet.
They think the dog's off and gone.
Yeah,
that's how they race. That's how they race in England. Lure around the outside, and the boxes go back to the inside and crane.
Yeah, wow.
Best ever.
Thanks for that, Stu. I did actually see that going around on Twitter, so obviously,
you know what?
Many of you will have seen it before.
That reminds me of The Simpsons. Do you remember when Homer had that dog? Was it called Santa Claus or something like that?
It was like something to do with Santa.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I remember that being quite fun.
All right,
another one from Dave.
Yes.
By the way, I don't know. You're probably not allowed to do it in England, but I think that dog needs a live kill.
But you'd be surprised. Maybe you are allowed to do that in England.
Yeah, well, they do have fox hunts.
I watched UK racing the other. No, not UK racing. I watched Sky UK News because I just can't listen to anymore about the pandemic. I can't look at Morrison, Chan, Berejiklian, and just driving. I've been watching a lot of English, and they said, "Oh, coming up, and here's the sport." It was like some good soccer match. Oh, and a horse racing, and it was the second leg of the double over. They went, "Wow!" And they said, "Oh, and another bit of horse racing. Look at this horse. This horse ran away from the Terrence and ran screaming down the straight, jumped up and down, and the catchers got it, and it was just like." Everything we don't see in Australia. It's awesome.
So we're more sanitised than England.
We're much more sanitised than England.
We're a very conservative country.
Yeah, much more. We're talking about no cash and plastic only. Over there, they'd cut your throat if you took those 20-pound notes off them.
Yeah, well, maybe it helps if you've got a long history that you think is sort of important.
Yeah, good point.
Dave writes, I didn't want to write again so soon, but I feel I must after listening to that piece on Michael Kent's view on the Australian breeding industry. Now, he is 110% correct in everything he says that's wrong with the breeding industry, so I won't extrapolate on that. Mick, being a trainer, has trouble calling a spade a spade. I don't blame him. Trainers need to train for breeders, so Mick is talking about the problem, but not the cause. He's not casting the blame directly. I don't have that same fear. I don't care what anyone thinks. What I would like to say is about the politics of the breeding industry. Do you really think breeders do not know their breeding weaknesses into the thoroughbred? Do you really think they don't know how to fix it? I've been saying it for years. It is not a coincidence. They make millions out of breeding stock with weaknesses. They do it with intent. They want racehorses to have short careers. They want buyers back every year. More buyers is what pushes prices higher. Hence, stallion fees go higher. Put simply, they need the buyer's bench to be overflowing every year. If the majority of horses raced on until they were 5 or 6 or even older, why would an owner want to buy another horse every year? That is also why we, Australia, specialise in sprinters, but that's another story. They have owners pyramid buying. All the big buyers are not looking for a racehorse. They're looking for a stallion or a potential broodmare. It's crucifying the industry. Get in and get out quick and breed some more. We don't breed for the races we run anymore. We put on races for the horses we breed. It's arse backwards. It is the reason we now have to race on wet tracks all the time, and that is a punting issue. In another 50 years, all races will likely be swimming races if we continue on down this line, because by then the thoroughbred won't be able to walk, but it cannot be changed. Every big trainer trains for breeders, so they're never going to rock the boat. Second-tier trainers either train for breeders or are hoping to, so they're never going to rock the boat. Breeders are on all the committees, they run racing. It's akin to how Trump wanted to run America. They have total power and it will never change because the only ones who can change it are the breeders. It is like complaining about the political system and politicians being owned by the wealthy. It cannot be changed because the wealthy like owning politicians and politicians like being owned, and only politicians can change it. We all think we live in a democracy. We don't. We all think everyone in racing loves racing. They don't. They are breeding a lot of horses strictly for the glue factory. Gord said that if he had a mare, he would take the risk and send it to Invincibility. The names are changed to protect the RANT. Well, do you really know how that works? Make sure you go with your mare when she is being served. A couple of points. Invincibility would probably serve 250 or more mares a season, roughly 12 to 13 weeks or around maybe 90 days. That is 3 mares a day, 7 days a week. And a lot of those mares would need to be served multiple times. So it would get close to 5 services a day, 7 days a week. My advice would be to make sure your mare is the first one served in the morning. If it is number 5, it risks not getting in foal or getting in foal from the slowest swimmer. And then there is AI, artificial insemination. It's not legal, but I'm sure it happens. And you don't get the strongest swimmer with AI either. It's a lottery. I do not believe a horse could serve that many mares. Star Kingdom, who was one of the greatest stallions ever in the Southern Hemisphere, from memory was limited to 48 mares a season. Why? Because that was all he could handle naturally. I'm pretty sure Zabeel only served 70 a season. Sure, vet techniques may have improved, but 5 times as many? Some stallions get in excess of 300 mares, and that is if they all got in foal first go. If you believe that, I have a bridge I would like to sell you, and a set of steak knives for the first 50 buyers. Also, the big breeders make sure their mares get first go each morning, and Gord's mare would get the slops much, much later at night when the stallion was buggered. I know you were talking figuratively, but don't get mixed up in a part of the industry that you do not understand unless you have someone to guide you who does know what can happen to novices. Now, I'm generalizing here, not accusing anyone in particular. We don't want to be sued or banned, do we? I could tell you many stories, read the industry and some of the tricks and cons, but that would mean being specific, and I don't want to go there. Yet maybe when I'm on my deathbed. 3 cheers for Mick Kent. Hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray, Dave.
Yeah, so what Dave's actually, that first part, Mark, he's actually saying that the breeding industry is very similar to Apple. You know how like they deliberately slow your battery down or speed your battery up or make it work less efficiently so that you're forced to buy the new one?
Yeah, it's like white goods breaking down.
Yeah.
White goods breaking down more regularly than they used to. It's like the fact that they know how to make ladderless stockings and won't. It's about sales, isn't it?
Yep.
Thanks for that, Dave. That was pretty good. I think I'm quite interested in the politics of who gets served and when, and that's probably quite pertinent as well, because that stallion does have a lot of work to do. Hong Kong man, in reference to Hong Kong being in recess and whether they spell or not, says, mate, horses in Hong Kong don't actually have spells. There are very limited places for them to spell. We have 1,500 odd horses here. At the flashy new training centre in China, Chungfa, there are 20 of what you might call outside spelling yards, not paddocks, mind you, yards. For the minority, when not racing for any length of time, they might get to go up to Chungfa, where even if they are boxed, it is very calm and quiet, miles from anywhere, so it's a restful atmosphere. For the majority, they'll be in their boxes at Sha Tin, on horse walking machines or the like. Until Chungfa became operational in mid-2018, the training tracks at Sha Tin were all closed for 3 weeks following the final race meeting of the season, but they would still have been on walking machines. But Chungfa has changed that because 2019 tracks there were still available in the summer break. Paul O'Sullivan played a smart game and worked them through the summer when nobody else did, and he had the best start to a season he's ever had. Naturally, that caused others to follow suit in 2019, and the trainers who did not have a Chungfa satellite stable complained about the advantage, so subsequently tracks do not close now. So that means Sha Tin's open the whole time. I'd still suggest most are given an easier time on walkers, water walkers, or just slow canters on the track, but the opportunity is there to work them through the summer. And with all the jockeys stuck here last year and this year due to COVID, there's even the chance for trainers to get jockeys to work them, and a few of the jockeys oblige. The talent of a good trainer is to keep them fit and going for 10 months. In a mostly hot and humid climate, it had its challenges, though of course everyone is working with the same conditions. Good test of a trainer, actually, but some who are not all that talented amongst the locals have twigged that there are ways to let the system do the heavy lifting for you and play it that way. Wow, so there's some insight from Hong Kong.
It was great info, yeah. I had no idea.
And obviously we'll be back there in about five weeks' time. Nathan said, hi, gents. Noticeable difference in the presentation of Twitter presence over the past few weeks. I think Kev has done a great job with it. However, I get the feeling from the interaction with the posts, likes, retweets, etc., that despite all the effort, it's not getting the desired effect. And by that, I mean more subs. I could be wrong, of course, just an educated guess from an outsider looking in. So this is a call to arms to all the ranters out there who have Twitter accounts to do their bit. Spend literally 5 seconds of their day to hit the like button of all the posts the rant make to Twitter. The last 4 posts on Twitter, 1 regarding falsely reported track condition and 3 alerting everyone that the midweek preview, marks assessments and other content was online, garnered a total of 9 likes combined. We have over 400 people in the chat room, even taking into account that most of them aren't vocal in there. There should be a lot more engagement from us as ranters to help promote the brand. Twitter will only do so much with its algorithm to put your posts out there to others on Twitter that don't currently follow the rant. We have the power to make every one of our own followers see rant posts simply by hitting the like button. The visibility should go through the roof. Even if it only manages to generate another couple of people having a lick for a couple of weeks, it's a small ask for most of us who are already in receipt of so much that the rant has given us. Finally, just another thumbs up to the recent changes you've made to the YouTube uploads that allow us to skip to certain races or topics on the Monday show. A great addition if some of us are hard pressed for time and want to see something quickly. although at the moment in Sydney, being hard pressed for time would be near on impossible. Cheers, Nathan.
Except for Glenn, who has to film early because he's so busy.
I am busy. He wrote, by the way, ask Glenn to how those redoubts go for 24.
No, that was Milesy, sorry. Milesy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Milesy.
He was very keen. He was very keen on that horse.
Yeah,
so
shuffle up.
I didn't like it. Absolutely shit in, and like I was wrong. He was right.
It happens in racing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, but how do they go over 2400? Shit house. Except for that one.
I think he might even be a little bit bitter at the moment because he's supposed to be in the Hunter Valley drinking, drinking the most expensive red wines and playing golf every day, and he wasn't allowed to drive up there, so he's a bit frustrated.
Yeah, well, it does raise the question. I mean, and the families are sort of complaining that the kids are locked up at home and they can't go to school and blah blah blah. But I mean, surely this situation is hardest on people like Milesy who, rely on being able to get out and about.
I think it's hard on everybody. Outrageous.
Willow sent this through for you, Glenn. He said, "G'day, fellas. May I suggest that GP morphs into Mr. Pollitt and gets into the local schools and call out these parents one by fucking one as they walk into the gate each morning with their lunchbox full of sugar and grease." Well,
it's taking off this. I'm telling you, I'm on the right track with this.
So Willow sent through a tweet from the Daily Telegraph. Let's have a look at this. Quaking in my boots as I suggest sharing this. Parents of obese children who are seen to be gaining massive amounts of weight and eating unhealthy foods at recess face being reported to authorities by teachers.
Well, I don't like the reporting part of it. I just can't even think of that way of living, people reporting on other people. But at least it's getting some around because it's got to end. I mean, even the advertisers on TV, every second kid's like a fatty. It's just like it's normal. It's disgusting.
All right. So you think that they're manipulating things by doing that as well, by saying this is okay, it's okay to be like this.
A lot of it's manipulation. I was only thinking last night about manipulation. Like, I don't know, so much advertising now is this person, and then we have the black person, like from Sudan or Africa, which is like 0.01% of our population in this country, and yet we have so many Asians in this country, or Asian-looking people. You never ever see them on TV.
No, never.
Never see them.
No, and yet you go to Ashfield or Hurstville or any of the hubs, Chatswood.
Yeah.
So it's a misrepresentation of Sydney, isn't it?
It is a misrepresentation. Anyway, it's just another thought. But the fat kids, like every single ad, like that Optus ad, but I've got a plan. The car goes down to some kid. He's like this big. I saw a photo of Mr. Morrison on a religious thing this week, saying how religious he was. He's got the family photo. The oldest daughter's got a spare tire around. I think she's 12. Like, come on, PM, what are you doing? What's going on?
It's not a race, Glenn.
That's what he always does too.
Dave's back. He says, "Hey, fellas, when I said the benchmark was taken from the weight carried, not from the weight allotted as a theory as to why most trainers will claim on the top weights, it was only my theory. I never said I knew it for a fact. It's just what makes sense to me, as I can't see any other reason why you would take Bowman and McDonald Berry off a last start winner and put a claiming apprentice on. And it happens all the time, usually with horses that are limited and can't afford to carry any more than they have to. As I said, just a theory, but why else would they do it? They don't seem to do it with horses that they are trying to raise the benchmark on to get into the better races. Make of it what you may." So hopefully one of our handicapping experts will come through and confirm or deny that theory. Michael writes, "Hi Mark, not really a jockey defender, but this seems ridiculous. Worth noting it was a heavy 10, heavy 11, according to ratings to win at Dubbo this day on the 16th of July. So let's see if I can bring this race out. It is, what did he say, race 1? And he's talking about Clayton Gallagher riding Few R for Gary Lunn. So I'll just get this ready to roll.
So they're saying it should have run second. So what does it run third, does it?
So does he read out, is there a bit of the steward's report there? Few R. Rider Clayton Gallagher pleaded guilty to a charge in that he failed to ride his mount out at the end of the race, which in the opinion of the stewards affected his mount's chances of being placed second in the race. License to ride and races was suspended for a period to commence on 25th of July to expire on 8th of August, on which day he may ride. Michael goes, I understand he pleaded guilty, but also probably just not wanting to cause issues. Maybe harsher penalty if he pleads not guilty. Anyway, surely somebody can be overseeing this. If this is starting to get pulled up, then it's going to get silly, in my opinion. He has whipped the horse 4 consecutive strides in the last 20 metres. I also note that Tamworth head steward has just been replaced in the last few months, and they're advertising for a new head steward for Dubbo area and Wagga. That's half the areas replacing/getting new head stewards. Incredible they don't have more mentoring programs, young steward apprentices coming through. Anyway, just another observation. He's saying maybe he's just misjudged it by half a second. Doubt it makes a difference. Can see him pulling his goggles down after the race. Imagine he couldn't see anything with the kickback. Maybe a reminder to keep riding them out, but 2 weeks for that. These blokes aren't on the millions that the guys in the city are. If I'd backed the exacta, 3 and 6, I would feel a bit unlucky as it was close, but not aggrieved. Anyway, as always, on to the next. So let's check out this race.
I love that last sentence. Anyway, as always, on to the next.
Yeah, that's a great
It is
attitude.
a beauty. So I suppose we just need to go to the finish, don't we, Glenn? The horse.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, Mark. You make me happy.
So
where is it?
The horse has got a red cap with black and gold jacket.
We've lost the picture.
So it's coming widest, isn't it?
I suppose,
Down the outside.
It's going to win there.
It's running in. So
runs in, which is the bad part of the track.
So got beaten for second, ran third.
Jeez, I've got to say, that seems a bit tough. What do you think, Gord? I mean, he's an apprentice.
I don't have a problem with the rider at all. He didn't cost it an inch. Oh, they're just talking about this dropping of the hands late or the stopping of the whipping. Sorry, he doesn't even drop the hands. What do they say? They wanted to see the horse whipped one more time. But he doesn't pull it up.
Anyway, just there it is, like in the Mr. Polar colours. Looks like. No, it's not.
All right, yeah.
I think a great email by and a fair punt to that, Michael. As he says, he's going to move on to the next. Didn't bother him.
I like horses to be ridden past the post, like to make sure you don't even, like one stride past the post. You still should be pushing it out just in case. That's what I want to see.
I don't understand that either, Gord. I don't understand why horses just you just keep riding until you're absolutely sure that you've passed the winning post.
Yeah, but by the way, he didn't cost it an inch.
No, I agree with that too. Hi, Mark, Glenn and Gordo. Trust all is well. Another racing season now finished in Sydney with both giants Chris Waller and James McDonald winning their respective premierships. However, I would like to give a gold medal to trainer Bjorn Baker. I feel with 58 winners in Sydney, just beaten for runner-up position to the strong James Cummings stable, this has been an outstanding achievement for a trainer with far fewer numbers. And I looked up the numbers. So the James Cummings stable has 266 horses and Bjorn has 145. So just over half of the Cummings team. I did also look up that Bjorn's horses start on average, or his winners start at $7.10 and the blue colours winners start at $5.30. So certainly you've done better backing all the Bjorn winners than you have the blue colour winners. That's if you back them all. Glenn would certainly agree his horses always look well and race accordingly. Yes, well done to this young trainer. From a personal point, happy to see his horse Night of Power win in the last on Saturday at the juicy odds of 8-1, $9. Big thank you to Mark having this winner as his top selection and Glenn confirming his fitness by the Mounting Yard Mail report. Well done, boys. Another reason to be a Goldie member. I think
good on you, Alan. You're a loyal ranter, sure.
Gord, you were actually in the van of Night and Power on Saturday.
Yeah, on top.
So that also caused me to dig out some figures for JMac and some figures prompted by Kev for Willie Pike. So JMac to JMac. So JMac rode it last start. He's riding it again. This year, 100 bets, 26 wins, 26% strike rate, minus 1.7% profit on turnover. JMac gets on, so other rider to JMac this year, 240 bets, similar strike rates, 26.7%, profit on turnover, 12.72%. So the average price of the JMac to JMac winners is $3.70, and the average price of the JMac getting on is $4.80. So it would suggest to me that the JMac to JMac horses are slightly overbet, or it's sort of not.
It makes sense.
Not sufficiently valuable, yeah. So why? I mean, we've talked about this a fair bit in the last few months about JMac getting on a horse, and yet the market doesn't seem to be twigging to it.
No, there's an anchor of previous performance, and here, see, the previous performance is a major variable in price next start.
Yep.
And JMac outperforms that variable.
Yeah, he does. He does. Willie Pike, his situation, Willie Pike to Willie Pike, 187 bets, strike rate of 24%, minus 24% on turnover. Willie Pike on, so no Willie Pike last start, 288 rides, 21% strike rate, minus 12%. So 320 are his average winners, Willie Pike to Willie Pike, and $3.80 are his average winners, Willie Pike on. Same story, I guess, Gord.
Well, the interesting thing with Willie Pike is he underperforms in the short price range bracket. So odds on he's negative 27.7, even money to 2-1 he's negative 27, and then really improves in that 2-1 to 4-1 range, and improves yet again in the 4-1 to 7-1 range.
So you're saying you're better off getting Willie Pike to ride a horse that doesn't have much form, or seems an outside chance, and that he could do something magical with that.
I think it's his riding style, because he's can be quite conservative early on in races. So he could get a Goldilocks. He could ride a Goldilocks run on that range of 3-1 to 7-1, which means you still got some ability, but you need things to go right. So he's more likely to pull off the Goldilocks run, and that's the kind of run you need in that price range.
Almost the Stephen Bradbury style. Just wait for them all to fall over. But you've ridden your horse perfectly and patiently and well balanced, and it's just, it's actually just going to give of its best in those circumstances. All right. Well, this will cheer you up, Glenn. Roy Milkey.
I need cheering up. I'm all right.
Hi, boys. The worst thing about the end of another racing season is the annual awards, where a bunch of CUNTs who've got everything get some more. Perhaps RacingRant could run its own awards. Here are my nominees. Pablo's Pulse Horse of the Year for the second year running, Belle of Clonmel. After her giant killing performance last season, breaking her maiden at start 11, beating Let It Pour, who was $1.10. That was at Gosford. This season, her second win comes at start 21, beating Sarah, who was $1.30. Now she's left Jason Coyle for the J. Hopkins Powerhouse. She will be set for the Everest to continue her giant killing feats.
And I'm definitely going to back her at start 31 if there's another horse in the race that's odds on.
That's quite amazing, isn't it? That her two
Very
wins
amazing.
have come in races where there's been an
really
short,
incredible little stat. Huh?
Well picked up there, Roy. The iLick Windows Award goes to the New South Wales Racing Stewards after dragging in Nashua Wheeler for going forward on Lancaster Bomber and winning on a Canterbury one-lane highway. Do they actually have any clue about racing, or in fact sport in general?
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That was amazing.
Oh.
The Sergeant Schultz Award goes again to New South Wales Racing Stewards after Eden Vale, who hadn't led for 18 starts and had led once in his past 30 starts, went forward at Canterbury to give cover to O'Mudgee with no questions asked. I see nothing. Speaking of JMac, the Astern at Darley Award goes to Adam Hieronymus for doing what is surely the whole point of racing.
So funny. This is such a brilliant email. How good is it?
The Middle East Peace Prize for people who fight amongst themselves despite sharing the same interests goes to Racing Victoria, the only jurisdiction in Australia who won't allow the tab to add their race videos to their form guide. Very good. The Karl Marx Communism in Racing prize goes to Racing New South Wales for their midway races, making sure everyone gets their piece of the pie, except for punters, of course. I understand next season's initiative will be special set weight races for fillies and mares trained by Craig Carmody.
I knew you'd like that. Good. I'd like this more, but I've read it about 4 times and sent it to about 8 people.
Oh, really?
Speaking of communism, the Aussie Mobility Scooters Race of the Year was undoubtedly the Sky Racing 4-year-old and up maiden over 1350 last Thursday at Wyong. 7 runners, 118 starts, no wins between them, won by the aptly named Somber Prize, his trainer's only horse. The owners should give the prize money back. How did that bunch of not even walkers get to race for 35,000?
So clever. Somber prize.
The Gamble Responsibly Bet With Your Head award goes to TAB New South Wales for the Odds and Evens initiative. This is the safest form of gambling ever invented because no one bets on it.
Honestly, it's an email we did this.
It is sensational. I'll post this on Twitter.
It's the best. This would go right on.
Oh, it's just so good. Wow.
The PETA, the Peter Anthropomorphism Award, goes to every Sky presenter who says, that horse deserved to win. Go and get fucked. Horses don't deserve anything. The Harold Holt Award for Mystery Disappearance goes to Glyn Schofield. E.T. phone home. The Deliverance Squeal Like a Pig Award goes to all the punters around the country who got fucked up the arse for another year when there was not one initiative that looked after us or that made us want to bet more, and a whole bunch that made us want to give up forever. The Johnny Fontaine.
That's not 100% true, because didn't Racing Victoria bring in? I haven't talked to anybody about those bet limits, but you know how you could get set up for a Saturday to win 2,000 on a Wednesday.
So what do you mean? I haven't seen it, Gord. So tell us about it.
What do you mean? Yeah, you have. They were talking about it.
Yeah, they were talking about the limits.
Did they do it or not?
I don't know.
I don't bet down there. But I heard that they brought in that definitely they brought in that as soon as markets go up, you're allowed to bet win 2,000.
Okay, well that's a correction, isn't it? That's certainly an initiative that will help punters.
I don't know if they're sticking to it or how it's being enforced or whether people are taking advantage of it.
Okay, one of you ranters write in who knows about
Not
that.
my jurisdiction.
The Johnny Fontaine You Can Act Like a Man award goes to J Mac. Ha 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 ha. Just a joke. Finally, the Jamal Khashoggi Award for services to racing journalism goes to RacingRant.
Yes.
So I didn't realise he was Adnan Khashoggi's son, who was some sort of dissident. Here's to the freedom of speech that RANT upholds and to backing more winners without losing our minds next season. Roy the Milky.
On you, Roy. What a terrific email. Best email
Yeah,
ever.
Khashoggi's the one that got butchered in the Turkish embassy.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Hi guys, I thought that T-Berry's right. I touched on this in part one. On Mr. G over the last 100 lacked any initiative whatsoever. Interested to know what you guys thought. Berry mentioned that Morton's fork had improved quickly on his inside so that he could not take an inside run. My question is, how would he know? He didn't even turn his head and look back on the inside. Not to mention Morton's fork hasn't improved quickly for a few years now.
That's good.
Very funny.
Thanks for that punter, Dave. Finally, well, not finally. Hi, the Glinster. Sorry, the email is titled The Glinster, not a typo. And Glenn Schofield tweeted last week, instead of being locked down indefinitely until there are 0 infections, how about opening everything up when the required percentage of the population are vaccinated? That'd encourage people to get it done, surely. And Tim replied to Glyn, hey, Glenster, this taxi driver, like Ray Hadley, might be onto something.
Might be onto something there. I agree with that, because we can't keep going all like this. It's just terrifying.
He goes on to say, gentlemen, I see Mr. Schofield has been quite active on Twitter lately, espousing his opinion on topics far and wide. It's quite sad, really, as the other humans actually listen to this shit. I won't bore the rant community again with the Dunning-Kruger effect again, but rest assured it's alive and well, and it's middle-aged, broken down South African taxi drivers. A larger concern is the chap, a possible ranter, who on Twitter wished Glenn all the best and can't wait to see him back riding again. Jesus, does this bloke require psychiatric help, or is he functionally illiterate and or a functional alcoholic? I've settled on that he's either Jack Nicholson post-lobotomy and Cuckoo's Nest, or alternatively that prick just dressed up like his mother in a rocking chair at Bates Motel. I'll let the panel decide.
Or he might know which ones aren't going to win.
That's right. He might be a layer, Tim. Victorian Punters Strike was tempted to say that the program last Saturday was, with the thank you, almost every man and their dog's race names, should be called the Up Yours Punters Day. But of course, under PVL, that's every day bar Christmas Day. So race 1 was called the ATC Thank You Stable Staff. Race 3 was called the ATC Thanks Frontline Workers. Race 6 was called ATC Thank You Owners Handicap. And race 10 was called ATC Thank You Trainers Handicap.
Wow.
Fuck, the world's a suck.
Real suck. This will cheer you up again, Glenn. Have a look at this.
Well, I don't need cheering up. I'm in fucking lockdown. I'd spend $500 to get a haircut. So I can look like a silver fox.
And you can't, or anyway, here we go. This is your man from the past. Share screen. Here he is.
Jeez.
And good morning, Australia. I'm Peter Overton, and welcome along to a massive day of racing here on Sky Channel right around the country. First today, we have greyhounds in on a Saturday morning coming from Olympic Park in Melbourne. I'll be crossing down to Arthur Cooper very shortly for race number 1. Just reminding you that... And good morning, Australia. I'm Peter...
Oh,
so I'll show you another little bit of that. It's actually a video on YouTube. It's April...
Fucking hell.
So stop share. It's April 1988. I didn't realize he was that old. And let's share this. So here's another little bit from the clip.
Britain, the 1984 Ascot Gold Cup. Interesting to hear Lester Piggott's name in that race. One of the jockeys, one of the world's most infamous jockeys, and the greatest jockeys, I suppose. But poor old Lester, that was happier times for him. He is now in the clink, so to speak, in jail, but for tax problems, I think. Okay,
that's enough of Peter Overton. Oh,
fucking hell! Like, come on! Like, can't you smile because someone's in jail? Like, could be. Yeah, I just can't comment, guys. Could be Satan.
Oh dear. What I mentioned on Saturday morning was just a little piece from the Shovel. It said, in a stunning example of overcoming adversity, an Australian swimmer has contested an Olympic freestyle heat without a single inspirational story about the obstacles he had to overcome to realise his dream of competing at the Games. It's very good satirical website, the Shovel. Labor, anyway. Check it out if you're interested. Glenn, today, of course, is it bank holiday today?
I'm not sure, mate. No, don't know.
It's the first Monday in August. And the first Monday in August, we were always at Randwick or Warwick Farm.
Jesus Christ, really? Seems a lifetime ago.
So the last time we raced in the city on bank holiday was 2004. I didn't realise it was that recent, 17 years ago. And I thought, hello, what else happened in 2004? It was Peter V'landys takes over the reins at Racing New South Wales. And I'll read you the piece that announced it. It was on December 23rd, 2003. And who did he take over from, Glenn? Do you remember the previous CEO of Racing New South Wales?
Merv Hill.
You're a genius. Harold Park boss. It was him, yeah. Harold Park boss Peter V'landys will take the helm at Racing New South Wales in February after yesterday accepting the vacant position of Chief Executive Officer. V'landys, who's been in charge of the New South Wales Harness Racing Club for 17 years. Wow. So 17 years at Harold Park, now 17 years at Racing New South Wales.
Maybe this is the year he goes. Maybe 17 years in the footy.
Said he was delighted to fill the spot vacated by Merv Hill, who departed the lucrative post last week. I'm happy to accept the challenge as CEO of Racing New South Wales. Volandes said, I realise it's going to be a hard job ahead. However, I believe the thoroughbred industry has enormous potential. I look forward to moving it forward in a cohesive and positive direction. Volandes received unanimous support from the board, which said, despite advertising the position yesterday, felt he should be appointed immediately.
They advertised it yesterday and appointed him the next day.
No, they appointed him on the same day, basically.
Yeah.
The New South Wales racing industry has an extremely important time ahead with the possible takeover of the New South Wales tab, a Racing New South Wales statement said. The board believes that Mr. Volandes' financial expertise as a certified practicing accountant and negotiating ability would be invaluable in this process.
I'd hardly call having an accounting degree being a financial expert.
Volandes, who will take over on February 23, said he was saddened to leave the harness racing industry, but would put his full focus into moving thoroughbred racing forward. I have a plan in mind and I presented that to the board, he said. I will now set about implementing that plan. That will involve consulting the industry participants. Too many decisions in the past have been made for the short-term fix and not the long-term. I want to change that line of thinking while leadership in the management area is a priority. Volandes added he wanted to make racing in New South Wales more attractive to owners and punters, saying that the flow-on effect from that would benefit trainers, owners, and breeders. So that's a little blast from the past there.
That is a little blast from the past. What a great show. Good emails this week. Fantastic email from Roy Milkey, and appreciate all of them.
Meanwhile, let's get on to Canterbury, the first metro race of the new season.
It's not a Canterbury.
Hey, Kenzo, won't it?
No, it's Kensington.
Kenzo.
There's no racing Canterbury for a month.
Okay. No, well, thanks for clearing that up. My internet's down, so I couldn't even check.
No, we're not. We're and we've got a Kembla Saturday in 3 weeks.
So a metro Saturday at Kembla.
Yeah, it's just we're only going to Randwick for the next month. Kenzo on Wednesdays, Randwick on Saturdays, and they've brushed one Randwick to Kembla on the Saturday.
All right.
So there's a thing going around called COVID, Mark.
I hadn't heard of it. But
when your internet's back, you can look it up.
Right, sounds good. Well, I'm happy to be at Kensington, so we'll look forward to a preview from. So we've lost Matt. So Gord.
And thanks so much to Matt Taylor for being involved for so long. He's an absolute champ.
Yeah, so Matt will bob up from time to time, hopefully, with anything that he interests him. But as far as
he's going to become a special celebrity guest.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah.
Well, he's a champion bloke, but we don't know that.
So Gord and an unannounced special guest.
No, I got Dan. Dan's one of the guests.
Oh, beautiful.
And
you got him out of the couples bubble.
We might have an extra. Yes.
Sounds good.
Oh, I don't know what car. Oh no, he's
as long as you're not ringing a bloke whose name starts with G and surname starts with P and there's a T and an N. As long as you don't fucking talk to that bloke, I'll be happy.
I tell you what,
I'm a lazy bastard.
To be honest, if you came on a Tuesday night, it'd the show would go for 5 minutes. People might like that. But we sure wouldn't be giving reasons behind tips. I can tell you, there wouldn't be time. Okay, on to the next race, number 2. Speak back.
All right. Meanwhile, of course, don't forget the live stream on Thursday. We've got a preview of Coffs Harbour Cup Day on Wednesday night. That'll be going out to everyone. And the live stream will be available and you'll be able to comment on the live stream, and any suggestions are welcome at this point in time while I'm organising it. So live stream will be the latter half, the last 4 races of Coffs Harbour Cup Day, and check out the preview at the same time. So we look forward to doing that. That'll be after our midweek preview tomorrow, our midweek meeting on Wednesday. So get amongst it on Thursday. We'll look forward to that.
See you guys.
See you guys.